I did not hesitate to take the job. And before you judge me, listen, I slept in water amongst microorganisms during the rainy season in Lagos. And my mother used to be so open about this. She would tell me, "You are a beautiful lady, yet we are suffering. Look, you will not suffer if you can play with men." I knew what this meant, and I could really not blame her. With all that she'd already endured, it was clear that she finally understood that she wasn't going to aid and pay off her rent off of Christianity. Mama Kemi explained things that I had to do on the job, and to be honest, it gave me chills through my spine, given how cringe the whole thing actually was. I had to collect used condoms after each encounter. I was given a special handkerchief, and I would wipe the feet of the people I had slept with in order to collect their footprint. All these things were to be put in a mystical bowl and sent to Mama Kemi before midnight. All these things were very mystical, of course, and a normal person wouldn't have seen anything on the handkerchief. When I was on my periods, I had to equally put it on the bowl that was to be given to Mama Kemi. I would do all sorts of acts in this house with both men and women. I used to fake interest in women so I could establish a relationship with my female counterpart in order to get their used parts. You know how evil things work, right? Because after these items were collected, some of these people either became mad, but those were the lame ones. For those who were not, gained powers after having entanglements with me. You see, the network was kind of a ritualistic center, where naive people were mixed with astute ones. For context, some people went there knowing exactly what they were looking for, while others, well, unfortunately, they knew nothing about the spiritual world and were just trying to have fun with the girls, you know. And the saddest part is that most of the victims were young men in their 20s with a life full of potential. See how some minutes of pleasure can be dimmed due to See how someone's destiny can be dimmed due to a few minutes of pleasure. Anyways, I just did mine and I left the rest, for I am not God to save people. I really want to guess that your parents warned you about promiscuity, and if they didn't, here I am warning you. Oh, remember, I said that we did all sort of things here. There were times where I would have oral entanglements with these men, mostly politicians, while being on my period. They'll go as far as drinking my body fluids during these entanglements, and best believe that the body fluids of the witch that I became would give them so much power, especially during their campaign. Women fluids hold so much power, and to be honest, this is the reason why women usually make or break some men. Thinking about this always makes me laugh when I see a naive person and when they think that the world is just the way that they see it with your two eyes. Or when people genuinely think that getting into top positions in politics or athletics is just all about talent. I say lol. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel ashamed at first, but as I said, at first. Because that feeling quickly got drowned out by the wad of cash I got at the end of each week. Well, I was paid in Naira, but to give you a more generalized idea of the type of money that I made about $30,000 per week. Yes, I sold my dignity for $30,000 a week, and my life changed. Oh yes. I moved to a new apartment with my mother. I told her that I had a sugar daddy, and that this guy got me a high-paying job at a multinational company that had a branch in Lagos. Honestly, my mother was just so happy for me and told me to grip onto this non-existing sugar daddy very well, for she had already got the taste of a wealthy lifestyle and she was not ready to let that go. Think about it. How can a woman who is a mother say something like that? I am pretty sure that in another world, my mother would have even joined this ritualistic network too. At times, I just reflect about my life, and it genuinely just makes me laugh. Who knew? Who could have even imagined that someone like me, good Christian girl, a good Christian girl who got ripped off of all her morals, a good Christian girl who now sells used female hygiene products for a living. A good Christian girl who is now a witch. At least the dynamics of my childhood was very confusing. I really could not say if we were Christians because we were suffering or because my parents genuinely had the faith in the beginning. Back then I was broke and I was just surviving in the slums of Lagos. To say that I had a life would be an exaggeration, because all that I had known was pure misery. My mom suffered from several aches. You see, think of it like old people diseases, where you don't really know what she has, but she has everything at the same time. And let's not even talk about the bills that kept on piling up, with our landlord who literally had no mercy for us. Things had always been hard for me, but I honestly thought that at some point things were going to change. I grew up in a single household since my father died when I was 10, but it literally made no difference because even when this guy was there, he would not provide for us. He would just spend his time cheating and abusing my mother. It got to a point where he would even use the Bible to justify his nonsense, stating that even in the Bible, a lot of people had many wives. Thinking about it, I even wondered who were the women who dated such a guy. He was just really full of himself and had very extremist views, though he wasn't even a moral guy himself. Things got worse when at some point we could not even afford to eat. There were times when we would eat bread and sugar. Please don't even overthink it, just take it like that. This was the peak of our misery. I can still remember the Saturday when my best friend Melissa came by and introduced me to this thing, the network that changed my life. Melissa clearly knew my living conditions, and she knew that I was ready to do everything for money. At this point, I had to support my mom, and everyone kind of knew that my mom was the love of my life, right? I would tell Melissa at times that even if you got opportunities in the adult industry, girl, don't hesitate because I'm taking. The first time she took me to this area was just very beautiful, luxurious apartment, and here I got introduced to an older woman named Mama Kemi. She was so beautiful. She had that warm granny smile. Think of her like Kamala Harris, to be honest, because they kind of looked alike. She was living a life far removed from the struggle that I had known. She was very rich. I mean, very. Just by a glance, you could tell that this woman, she's living in wealth. Well, she explained things with me with no sugarcoating. This network is a place for trades. Some men, she told me very boldly, will pay for a fortune to get the things that we leave behind. Used condoms, menstrual pads, footprints, nails, body fluids, and much more. Things that I never imagined could hold any value. It was super cringe, but the money was there. And that is how I became a witch. And I did all the things that I started off narrating. The lifestyle wasn't as weird as people could think, I just entertained people, stole their energies, entertained others, transmute some energies to them, and so on. No, I did not fly with drones. No, I did not have a heart, gosh. I was just like any normal woman out there. And God knows, yes, God knows how many wizards look like normal people out there. I can't give all the details of this network, but long story short, once I see someone who belongs to such a network, I know it. I may not know the specificities of their network, but I know. I have a best friend in France who's equally part of a network where they practice what he calls ceremony mortuaire, and I can tell you that you don't want to be part of it. Oh, I guess there is no need reminding you that he is a politician there, and people who follow French politics may have already heard of him a few times. Well, I'm just saying, be a little bit more careful. As I enjoy my life with Melissa, something unfortunate happened. Yes, it was quite unfortunate. Melissa died. Yep, she died in a brutal car accident and I was so devastated. But apparently she tried to play in a league that wasn't hers. You see, After her death, a meeting was conducted and Mama Kimi told us that Mel was killed by a Sangoma. Basically, a Sangoma is a spiritually strong entity from South Africa. She said that Tina tried to bewitch the Sangoma and take control of him to make him her husband. But he was way too strong spiritually and killed her by causing this road accident. It's kind of crazy how you try to bewitch a wizard when you don't even have enough energy. Mama Kimi warned us. She warned us about trying to get into other types of relationship with people and how intersecting witchcrafts can be very detrimental. She told us to never build a special bond with the clients because some were just puppets from who we had to steal energy, while others were literally at the top of the society and they came there just to feed their spiritual energy. One night I got a request that changed my life. It literally changed everything and it made me advance in my grade as a witchcraft. You see, I was with my mom at our home and this uncle stopped by for a visit. Well, he wasn't really my uncle, more like a distant family friend who had just been around for my whole life. He'd heard that we had a little bit of success and relocated somewhere. I'd always known this man to be a strict religious leader. And you know, this type of pastors from Nigeria, right? Those in Nigeria obviously know. The night though, he wasn't himself. He drank a little too much, he spoke softly to me, and stared at me in a way that made my skin crawl. He offered me money, a lot. That was obviously nothing compared to all that I had already, but I just really wanted to harm him. I really wanted to do some harm to this man. You see, he was wealthy, but he was not willing to help anyone who was not willing to sleep with him. I'd even heard rumors of him having entanglements with church boys, but that topic doesn't concern me, and I guess it will never. Obviously, our encounter was a mechanical and cold one, but I went through it. As he lay there afterwards snoring away, I collected a condom, wrapping it carefully, and I contacted Mama Kemi. She told me that the buyer was going to pay handsomely for it, stating that religious men were harder to tweak, yet had very high spiritual energy that could nourish the spirits of the network very well. I was very happy because this was an indicator that I was going to get some sort of spiritual privileges that I am not going to get into details right now, but subsequently you will know what I was talking about. The guilt should have started to consume me, right? I mean, after all the evil things that I had done. But no, I did not feel anything. I kept quiet. I could say that at this point, the money had just drowned my conscience. This is when I realized that I became something else. I could feel as if a spirit of wickedness was living inside of me and consumed me every day. I indirectly realized that I was faced with a dilemma. I either lost myself completely and became a hardcore witch and got into the other sides of witchcraft that I had never even tried before, or I died. Lol, because at this point, I am literally soulless and there's no way of coming back. I can remember once I attempted to have a man and it ended up in a very, very suspicious and shady way. I can say that the spirit did possess him and force him to die. Okay, for more context, I started dating this guy who was very normal and rich, by the way, but one day he started saying that his life felt purposeless and that he did not want to live anymore. Few weeks after that, he started acting very, very, very weird, like he was scared of me for no reason. Then one day, while I was standing towards him, he started laughing in a very weird manner. Then he jumped from the balcony and died. This was extremely horrific, and it did take me a very long time to recover because I could not even understand. I still don't know what made him do that, or if he was able to see a part of me that I had never seen before. I feel like there are just so many rhetorical questions for me. And he wasn't the only one, by the way. My mother called me one day saying that she's been hearing voices in her house. and seeing shadows like structures. Now, I was just in my eye rolling phase when she said that because she's a known drama queen, and I was a little bit perplexed by that. Nevertheless, I took my mom to my own place, and things got even worse. Not the voices, obviously, but her behavior. She now acts in a very strange way, as if she's scared of me. We are not very close anymore, and at times I will hear my mother praying and crying at night. Funny how now she prays, but when I told her that I was dating a sugar daddy, she seemed happy. Now I'm extremely rich, but I kind of feel inhabited. No, I don't feel bad about being a witch. I feel like I have. I feel like I must have been bewitched by another person. Okay? I feel like there are some creatures within me, and then I must have been cursed by someone